categories on eBay, which means that just about anything can be sold. However, there are a few things you should avoid. Products that require a license, for example, alcohol and tobacco, are difficult to sell on eBay. Alcohol, along with a number of other products, is a restricted product on eBay and can only be listed on eBay under certain conditions. Other products that can only be listed on eBay under certain conditions are animal and wildlife products, so for example, bags made out of animal skin, event tickets, human parts and remains, postage meters, for example, franking machines, and vouchers. Items which are entirely banned from eBay include anything which can be used to break the law, so for example, stolen property, police-related items, offensive material, lock-picking devices, also licensed products like prescription drugs and firearms, weapons and knives. Some branded items, for example Gucci or other high-end fashion items, are difficult to sell on eBay. This is because eBay operates something called the VeRO program. VeRO stands for the Verified Rights Owners program. It enables brands to police eBay listings. They can do such things as pull fakes or pull listings which use content without their permission. So for example, you could have bought an item entirely legitimately through a wholesaler and not through the brand directly, but the brand will say that you are using their stock photos and have your listing pulled through the VeRO program. Brands tend to subcontract the management of their brands on eBay to agencies. If a product you're selling gets flagged in the VeRO program, you will first off get a warning saying that the listing has been removed and you shouldn't list it again. The second time round, you will get a suspension. You'll not be able to list new items for a number of days. Third time will be a longer suspension, and after that your account will be in danger of closure. Once you've had a VeRO mark against your account, it is very hard to appeal. There are two main types of listing on eBay: auction and fixed price. With an auction, an item typically starts at a low price and people bid against each other to win the auction. Unlike an auction in an auction house, the auction will have a defined ending point, and it's the person who has the highest bid at that point who wins. Auctions have certain advantages. There are potential for higher prices as people bid against each other competitively to win the item. If you're not sure what the price of an item should be, you can let the market determine the price. If you start your item at a low price, then the item has a much better chance of selling than a fixed price item at a high price. And finally, an auction has a certain sense of urgency about it. People are competing to win it. The disadvantages of auctions is they're difficult to automate. You cannot relist an auction if it doesn't sell. Also, because the buyer is not necessarily around when the item ends, they will not automatically pay for it, and frequently people do not pay or pay late. So in summary, an auction is good for unique items without a defined price. So looking at eBay, we can see examples of these different types of listings. Here at the top we have fixed price listings, and you can see the price here. If we go to the bottom and we select auction listings, we can see just the auction listings, and we can see that's the starting bid there, and there's the number of bids on the item, and that's how much time is left. So the winning bidder at the end of 2 days and 20 hours will be the person that wins this phone. We're down here, this one here has currently had 4 bids, and the highest bid is £72.80. If we click on an item, this one has 5 minutes left, we can see the bids on that item. So we click here, we can see 4 bids, and here are the details of the bids. So there's the name of the bidder, and here's the bid amount. And if you want to place a bid, you can place your bid here. Although eBay started off as an auction marketplace, most of the items on eBay are now sold at a fixed price. Fixed price listings have a number of advantages. The items are available for immediate purchase, so people do not need to wait till the end of an auction. The listings of these products can be automated, so you can list a product on a good till cancel duration, and the item will automatically renew every 30 days. Items can be listed and edited in bulk, and payment is immediate. You also have the option for the markdown manager to enable you to do sales on your fixed priced items. On the other hand, with fixed price items there is no sense of urgency. There are also relisting fees depending on your shop level. So if you have a basic shop level, it'll cost something like 30 pence to relist an item. So in summary, fixed price items are good for consumer items with a defined market price. In this video, we'll be looking at eBay's listing and selling policies. That is, what you can't include in eBay listings and what you can't sell on eBay. With 15,000 categories on eBay, it is possible to sell just about anything on this platform. However, there is a list of prohibited items which I'd recommend every seller to read. Examples of prohibited items include prescription drugs, offensive material, and police-related items. Listings must be for a tangible item or service. Listings cannot infringe the intellectual property of others, for example, by selling fakes or by using imagery without permission. eBay has something called a VeRO scheme to police this. Rights owners, for example companies that control brands, can register for this scheme and then tell eBay about listings which they believe have infringed their intellectual property. eBay will then remove those listings and it is up to the seller to appeal. On the prohibited and restricted items page, there is a long list of prohibited and restricted items. A second area that sellers need to be aware of is eBay's listing policy. This refers both to the content of the listings, in terms of the textual description of the item, and also features such as links and emails. eBay does not want people to be redirected off the eBay listing. It does not allow links or emails in the listing description. You also cannot use JavaScript. eBay states that listings should accurately describe the item, they should give an accurate location, and you should not use keywords in the description that do not describe the item. So for example, if you are selling a little black dress, but it's not a Chanel dress, you cannot say, looks like Chanel. So you should not use brand names that do not describe the item. The eBay List Your Item form is the process you use if you only want to list one item on eBay. If you click Sell in the top navigation and then Create a Listing, and then Single Listing, it will take you to the form. The first thing you need to do is enter the name of the product you want to enter. So I've entered iPhone as a classic example. It gives you some suggestions for categories. So here we're going to select iPhone in the mobile category. eBay has a catalog and you can choose to use information from the eBay catalog which will pre-populate elements of your listing. If you go to the bottom, you can see don't see one like yours, bought a missing product, or continue without selecting a product. So let's continue without selling a product. This then takes you to the form proper. I'm going to go through the List Your Item form quite quickly and we'll be focusing on specific elements of eBay listings in later videos. The first part is the title. This is up to 80 characters and gives the name of the product which is being sold and also should include keywords which customers can use to find your products. So if we look at an eBay listing, this is the eBay title here, showing up in the search results and also at the top of the listing page. A subtitle is an extra piece of information which can be given to a listing, but it costs £2.40 as can be seen here. And this is the subtitle here which appears on the listing page and on the results underneath the title. Custom label is the SKU and is used if you have a listing system to link between the listing on eBay and your inventory system. Every product needs a category and you can choose a category from a wide range of things. It's pre-populated with recently used categories or suggested categories, but you can search up to 15,000 categories. Shop categories is if you have a eBay shop, you can set user-defined categories which you can use to categorize the products within your shop. Variations is where you have a drop-down selection in a listing to enable the customer to choose from multiple options on the same page. Here is an example of a variation listing. To buy a phone on this page, you have to select a condition, a network operator, storage capacity, and color. An EAN is a barcode. Customers sometimes use barcodes to search for products, and it is also used by eBay to link together products for the purposes of collecting reviews. Every product needs a condition, and there's a range of conditions ranging from new to for parts are not working. Every eBay listings can add up to 12 photos for free, and it is a good idea to add as many high quality photos as possible to a listing. If you want to display a large photo in the search results, you can use Gallery Plus, but there is a £3 charge involved. Item specifics are extra attributes which you can add to a listing. These help people to understand what the features of the product are, and it also helps customers to filter searches. So if we look at our iPhone listing, the model and the network, these filter attributes on the left hand side are all custom specifics which are being added to products. By adding custom specifics to products, you increase the number of searches under which your product will appear. So here eBay has pre-filled some details and some need to be added by the seller. The item description can either be entered in this WYSIWYG editor, or you can enter your own HTML to create a rich listing. You have a choice of formats when listing. You can list in an auction style listing or a fixed price listing. For an auction price listing, you need to set a duration, and that can be either 1, 3, 5, 7 or 10 days. You also need a starting price. You can add a buy price, which is the price that customers can buy the product for before the first bid is placed. And you also have the option of placing a reserve price. There is an additional fee for setting a reserve price and a buy it now price. Listings can either start at the time when they are created, or they can be scheduled to start in the future. For fixed price items, you only set a buy it now price, and you can also schedule. Sellers have the option to specify the VAT on the product, and for fixed price items you can have a quantity for sale. Business policies are set up separately, and they set the payment details, the postage, and the return policy. The package weights and dimensions are used for calculating the shipping for the global shipping program, and also calculating the shipping if you're using domestic or international weight tables. If you want to get additional exposure for your products, you can select to promote your item using eBay's promoted listing program, and that can be set on the listing here. Finally, multi-buy is when you want to offer a discount on each item. So for example, if they buy 2 or more, then they save a percentage off each item. Once the item has been created, you can preview it and also choose to list with displayed fees. If we add a feature like a subtitle, here I've added a subtitle, then we can see that there is a fee charged for that. Once the listing has been completed, you can either choose to list with display fees, you can preview the item, which shows you how the item will look, or you can save the item as a draft to use it later. If you have a number of similar products that vary on an attribute such as colour or size, on eBay you have the option of creating a variation product where all the products can be sold from the same fixed price listing. Variation products are not available using the auction format. Here is an example of a variation product on eBay. This is for an iPhone, and you can see it says here that the price is between £109 and £189. So there's more than one price on the same listing. The buyer here from the same listing can select from a number of different attributes: condition, network operator, storage capacity and colour, and they can select a combination of these different attributes, and when they click buy it now, this is what they will buy. You'll note when they select a different colour, then the main picture changes. Bringing all the options together into one listing may increase your conversion rate, and may also increase the performance of less popular options, as these options, if they were listed singly, might appear lower down in the search. If they're combined together, you will get more sales on a single listing, and it will improve its performance in eBay's best match search algorithm. If you want to create a variation listing from the eBay quick listing form, you first need to convert the listing to a fixed price item. So I've scrolled down and I've selected fixed price item. At the top here, then you will then see the option to create variations. The next page is where you create your variations. eBay will suggest some variations based on the category you choose. You can either use these attributes or select your own. So I'm going to add 2 attributes. The first one is size, and the second one is colour. You can see the attributes here that eBay suggested based on the category which I selected, which was baby car seats. So for each of these attributes, you can create your options. So the size, I'm going to take the size small, medium, and large. And for the colours, I'm going to create red, green, and blue. So we will have 9 variations, so it's 3 sizes and each of 3 colours. The next step is adding photos to the variant listings. There are 2 types of photos you can add: default photos and variation photos. Default photos will appear for all the variations. So this picture of a watch that I've added here will show across all the different variations. The next step is to add variation photos. You could use the default photos, or you can add photos for the different attributes. So in this case, I'm going to add photos for colour. So I've got red here, I'm going to add a photo for red, and a photo for green, and a photo for blue. And when the customer chooses these options on the listing page, they will be shown this photograph. So when they select a variation, they will be shown the photo for the variation and also default photo. And here at the bottom, you can set the attributes for the variants. You can set a SKU. That would be if you're using an external listing system. This should be the SKU in your external listing system, which will enable eBay and your external listing system to link. So I'm just going to add different SKUs here. And EAN is the barcode for product. So I'm going to choose does not apply. You can set different prices for different variants. So this one here at the top is a small product in red, and you can set an individual price for each different variation. So small in green can have a different price, small in blue can have a different price, etc, etc. And when you're done, this can be previewed. So this one will have two variations, size and color, and the customer will select that. When they select their option, the relevant photo will appear. If we select Save and Close, it will take us back to the quick listing form. And here we can see the variation detail here. Note that everything else on this page is the same for all the different variations. It's only the variations which are controlled by the drop-down boxes which are selected by the user. In this video, I'll be looking at how to set the international and domestic postage for your eBay listings. On the Create Your Item form, shipping is set under Business Policies, where you select a postage policy which has been already created. From the listing, you can view, create, or edit a listing policy. Shipping policies can be edited from Account Settings. This can be accessed from the top left-hand menu and then Account Settings, and then clicking on Business Policies. You have the choice then of payment, returns, or postage policies. If you click on Postage Policies, it will show you all the postage policies for your listings. If you want to create a new postage policy, click Create Policy and then Postage. You can give your name a policy and also record information about the policy, for example, what it does or when it was last changed. You have the choice whether to set this as a default postage policy. Shipping is divided into domestic postage and international postage. For each of domestic and international postage, you can set up to 4 postage services. For each, you can set a cost and a price per additional item. That is, multiples of the same item. If you're buying different items together, then you need to apply a different sort of rule, which we'll discuss in a minute. If an item is free post and package, you need to click the free post and package option. From the drop down here, there is a selection of different services. If your service does not fit one of the exacting services here, then you can select something, for example, like Other 48-hour courier. The combined postage discounts is if you're buying 2 items which are not the same product. Flat postage rules are set in the postage settings, which we'll discuss later in this video. Finally, you need to select a dispatch time. When setting international shipping, you can also set up to 4 zones. Firstly, you have the option to send it via the global shipping program. If this is selected, then international customers will send their products to a UK shipping centre and eBay will take over the delivery from there. This has the benefit of taking care of all the international shipping for you. However, the shipping that the global shipping program charges is normally higher than a merchant will charge. For each of the 4 zones, you can choose worldwide, or you can choose the zones you want to sell to. Here we've chosen the customer location and one of the services. Just like domestic, you have a cost per item and a cost per additional item. You can set up to 4 different zones with different services. You can set 2 different services for the same area. For example, if you want to have an untracked and a tracked service to the same destinations. For areas you do not ship to, you can choose to set additional locations that you ship to, but the customer will need to contact you for the shipping prices. Again, if someone is buying different items, you can apply a postage rule to enable the combined shipping to be calculated. Finally, at the bottom here is a list of excluded locations that you do not want to ship to. This is a list that can be edited. Between the zones you have selected under international postage and the excluded postage locations, you should have covered all the locations that eBay ships to. Otherwise, you will have destinations which eBay says you ship to, but you've set no shipping rates, and that means that customers will contact you for shipping rates, which is time consuming. If you want to create more granular shipping rates, you can define delivery rate tables. You can define delivery rate tables for most domestic and international shipping. For the domestic rates tables, you can choose whether to set the postage rates by item, weight, or search charge. If you set it by item, you will set a shipping rate per item. If you set it by weight, then you need to choose the zone, and there will be a cost per item and then a cost per kilogram. And if it's by surcharge, then you can choose a surcharge for different zones. For example, if someone is sending to the Channel Islands, then you can set an additional surcharge on top of the postage which has already been set in the zone settings. So if we look at an active example, here is a Aidene bandana bib. And if we revise the listing, we can go to delivery details and edit the postage policy. Here we can see we've set 3 zones up for the UK postage, dispatch time 1 day, and international shipping 2 zones have been set up, and there's two postage tables set up. If we view the domestic postage table, we can see there's no additional cost for the offshore zones in the UK. So if we return to the product and look at the postage and payments for the UK, it'll give us the 3 zones which are as shown under domestic shipping. If we go to international shipping and we view the rates table, we've got different zones set for different destinations internationally. You can see we've done it at the level of different countries, so Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, etc. and Australia. It's a weight-based postage table. If we go back to the bib and we look at Australia, we can see that there are 2 shipping services defined, standard and express, and that is the shipping service which is available, and it's got per additional item. And if we look at the postage rates table here, we can see for Australia it's got express, it's $9.30 plus £13 per kilogram, and we've got standard here which is £2 per item and £11 per kilo, which corresponds to what is shown on the listing. Alongside the shipping profiles are a number of count level shipping settings that need to be set. These are done from account settings and then postage preferences. The Global Shipping Program is a program whereby you can select to offer your items for international shipping, but instead of shipping them directly to the customer, you ship them to eBay's fulfillment center in the UK and they will take it from there. This is great for getting additional international exposure without the requirement to ship your items internationally. From this option you can choose to enroll or remove yourself from the program. Click and collect is where you agree to ship your items to pickup centres throughout the UK, and here again you can choose whether to enroll or not. This is an option here to set your postage rates tables. Set same business day handling times is where you set the cutoff point for your same day handling. Bear in mind if you want to offer premium listings on eBay, you need to ship within 3 working days, which means you need to have a same day cutoff, even if that cutoff is very early in the morning. And in this account you can see it's 8 AM. Allow combined payments and postage means that customers can buy multiple items and pay on different days and pay for them together. So here with combined payments you can say that can buy items and pay for them together. In this case, customers can combine items together if they bought them over a 3-day period. A flat postage rule defines how you combine shipping for multiple items which are not the same. So you have a number of choices. 1, you can add an amount for each additional item, or 2, subtract an amount from each additional item. In this case, we've set a rule to add £3 per additional item. If we add a profile, we can say add £2, give it a name. That profile will then be available in your shipping profiles to enable customers to buy multiple items together and then add £2 or £3 per additional item. Promotional postage rules set the behaviour of postage when customers buy a number of items together. So for example, you can set a minimum purchase amount for combined payments, a minimum purchase amount for free shipping, so you could for example say free shipping over £50, a minimum number of items purchased to specify free shipping, or a maximum purchase cost for a single combined payment order. In this case, if the postage is combined, you can set the maximum postage cost for the combined payment. Here you can set excluded shipping locations at the account level. And finally, you can choose whether to request a phone number when customers make a purchase. Obviously, having a phone number is good if you need to give it to couriers, but from experience, customers do not like to be asked for their phone number. In this video, we'll be talking about eBay's Best Match search algorithm. Best Match is the name given to the default sorting of a search on eBay. You can see here I've done a search for iPhone, and the default sorting is called Best Match. Other sorting, including lowest price first, has to be selected separately by the user. Best Match uses a number of factors to decide the sorting of listings. The factors it uses includes how closely the listing matches the buyer's search terms, i.e. does the content in the listing have the search terms in it, the historical performance of the listing, so it will look at the sales and the conversion rate of the listing, the price of the item, it'll favour more competitively priced items, the listing quality, including the description and photos, it will give preference to descriptions which have a fully filled out listing including attributes, description and multiple photos, how generous the return policy is, how long the handling time is for the product, and it will also look at the performance of the seller, i.e. is it a top rated seller, are there any policy violations on the account. When ranking listings, Best Match will look at both the performance of the listing and the seller. For the listing it will look at the sales history. All other things being equal, more established listings with more sales history will rank higher. It also looks at the conversion rate, which is the number of times an item is bought divided by the number of times it is viewed. It will also look at the keywords which are used in the listing. For the seller, it will look at the feedback score, the detailed seller ratings and the policy compliance. These things all feed into the seller level, which is either top standard or below standard. To perform well in Best Match, it is important to maintain your top rated seller level. Best Match will also consider the quality of the content of the listing. It will look at how well the keywords in the listing match the keywords in the customer search. It will look at the number and quality of the images, the length and quality of the description, and how well the item specifics have been completed. The listing offer is also an important part of Best Match. It will consider how price competitive the listing is, how generous the term policy is, and how generous the handling time is as part of its calculations. Finally, some tips to improve your performance in Best Match. As Best Match looks at the historical performance of listings, it is important not to end listings without good reason. eBay has an out of stock function which allows the listing to stay live on eBay just with no stock. When creating listings, research the relevant keywords and include these in your title and description. It is important to create great listings that include as much information as possible, as this will help with conversion rate, and also eBay takes into consideration item specifics and the quality of images. You should offer attractive delivery and returns. Keep your prices low to ensure that your listings are competitive. With low prices, your listings will naturally have better conversion rate and will collect sales. This in turn will help Best Match. Using variations will mean that more sales will accrue to a single listing, and so this will improve its performance in Best Match. It is also important to maintain a high level of seller performance. One strategy is to offer your listing at a low price to begin with to collect sales, and then as it improves in Best Match search to increase the price. In this video we'll be looking at researching keywords for your eBay listing. So why should you take care when choosing the keywords for your eBay listing? eBay users search using keywords. To maximize your appearance and results relevant to your products, you must include relevant keywords in your description and title. Including keywords will also help with Google search, as eBay listings appear both in Google Natural Search and Google Paid Search. Firstly, what is a keyword? Keyword in this context is the search term used by the buyer. It will also be referred to as the key phrase. Keyword research is finding all the keywords relevant to your listing, categorizing these into primary and secondary keywords, and then working them into your title and product description. You should include all the relevant keywords on your product page. When building a list of all the high volume keywords relevant to your product, you should consult a variety of sources. Firstly, you should think about your personal experience and your expertise in your product range. What are the kind of key phrases you think people are going to be looking for? Secondly, look at eBay Search Autocomplete. If you go to the eBay Search and enter a key phrase, you will see a list of the most high frequency searches related to your key phrase. Another sort of keyword is both related products and competitor products on the eBay marketplace. By looking at the contents of other people's listings, you can see the keywords which they think are important. By looking at this search for iPhone, we can see that other sellers consider words like smartphone unlocked to be important. Here we have factory unlocked, UK to signify it works in the UK. Here we have the name of the network. Finally, you can use external keyword tools to find keywords. Examples include Google Trends. On Google Trends, I've done a search for iPhone. It'll show you the keyword interest over time. You can select interest by sub-region. So if I click on England, it'll just show searches in that area. And you can see here related queries. So it'll give you high volume key phrases related to your original search. If you think one of these is relevant, for example, iPhone mini, you can click on that, and it'll show key phrases related to the iPhone mini, which you can include in your listing. Once you've finished your keyword research, divide your keywords into primary and secondary groups. Primary keywords are your most important high volume keywords. You will use these in both the title and the description. Your secondary keywords will be less important, lower volume keywords, which you will only include in your description as you will not have space for them in the eBay title. In this video, we'll be discussing how to optimize eBay listings, both for search and conversion. There are a number of areas of a listing which sellers should take care to complete correctly. These are the title, images, description, selecting the correct category, specifying the item specifics, adding the correct business policies, adding an item identifier, and choosing the right pricing. In many ways, the eBay title is the most important part of the listing to get right. This is what appears on the listing results and at the top of the listing. In the listing results, the quality of your title will determine whether a user clicks through to your listing or not. These are our best practice recommendations when creating listings. You should use as many of the 80 characters which are available for a title as possible. Include the product type, for example shoe, bed or laptop, near the front of the title. You should also include your brand and the primary keywords which you discovered using the keyword research phase. As well as these primary keywords, you should use synonyms. So for example, if you're selling a pram, you should use keywords such as stroller and buggy. Also include useful features and the unique selling points of your products. Take care to properly format your title. You can use proper case, that is, capitalizing each word. Whilst the use of some capitals can help to emphasize part of a title, do not use all capitals because it looks like shouting. Don't be tempted to use gimmicky things like look or wow, because these are not things that people search for and will not help you in the search results. Try and create a readable title that is in a natural order and is easy to read. Here is a suggestion for a formula for creating a title. Keep the most important information towards the left of the title, as this is what people read first. So start with the brand, then information about the product such as the product type, the gender, the size, then additional keywords and USPs, and synonyms. So for example, this is the Casato Bro and Sis double pushchair. You could say Casato Bro and Sis double folding pushchair, and then the synonyms, which is pram, pushchair, stroller, buggy. And here I've put BN on the end, which stands for brand new, as that is a standard eBay way of signifying the condition of an item. Images are vitally important for e-commerce sales. On eBay, listings are now optimized for mobile, and the image is the first thing that the buyer will see. They may not look at anything else. On eBay, a seller can have up to 12 images, and you should use as many of these as possible. The main image, also known as the hero image, should be a close cropped image on a white background to show just the product. You should use high resolution images. Aim to submit images as near to the maximum size as possible. This is 1600 pixels on the longest size. Images of this size will be zoomable. Try to include images of the product from different angles, include packaging and also detailed close-ups. If you have them, use lifestyle images and avoid watermarks. This eBay listing uses a number of images, which is good. The images are high quality and zoomable. There's multiple pictures of the product and also lifestyle images. For each eBay listing, you need to set the postage via a postage policy, a return policy and a payment policy. By offering more favourable conditions in postage returns and payments, you will be able to increase the conversion rate. So for example, if you offer lower postage or more postage options, you will give your customers more options to choose what they want and the conversion rate may increase. Similarly with returns, offering a longer return period may increase the number of customers that buy your products. A product's description should give the buyer all the information they need to make a purchase. You should include product features, the benefits of the product, unique selling points, what is included in the purchase, and also include useful information such as dimensions, weight, and care instructions. The product's description can just be plain text as is seen here, or HTML can be used to give a rich experience. See here we have used a HTML template which gives information about the seller. There's branding, the title. We've pulled in the images here which we can toggle between. There's a description and also information about the purchase, so it gives information about delivery, payment options, about the seller and about returns. So when you are creating an HTML template for your description, you need to make sure that it is mobile friendly. It helps to include your images, also your seller info and any business policies you have. Within eBay, there is a WYSIWYG editor, which can be used to edit a template. You can enter your own HTML, and there's also a mobile-friendly checker. This will show you how your listing will look on a mobile phone. It would also tell you if you've got any active content, so for example JavaScript, which isn't allowed by eBay, or any non-compliant links. When listing an eBay product, it is important to choose the right category. Buyers will often browse a category, and it also determines the item specifics. You can choose up to 2 categories for a product, though you will normally have to pay to list in a second category. Item specifics are predefined attributes which are specific to a category. By filling in these item specifics, you give your buyers more information about a product. They also help you appear in searches. If I search for an iPhone, these filters on the side are determined by the item specifics which are added to a listing. If you do not add these item specifics, then you restrict the number of filtered searches that a product will appear on. When listing a product, you have the option to enter an item identifier, for example a barcode. By entering an item identifier, you increase your chances of that product appearing in Google product search. eBay advertises products on Google, and Google Shopping uses product identifiers to identify products and display them in its search. Item identifiers also help eBay identify what the product is, which allows them to assign reviews to a product and also eBay catalog information. For example, on this iPhone listing, barcode has been entered, and eBay has populated the item specifics with its catalog information. Finally, some customers will use product identifiers to search for items, and if you do not have the item identifier specified, they will not find your item. eBay is a competitive marketplace, and listing a product at a competitive price is a vital part of increasing conversion. There are tools available to reprice eBay products against your competitors. When looking at pricing, you should consider the item price plus any shipping. There is also the option to offer discounts for multi-buys. Here in this listing, this buyer has specified a number of multi-buy options. Finally, by offering international shipping on your products, you open your products to a larger marketplace and the opportunity to reach more customers. This is done by the Postage policy. By creating variation listings, you can offer your customers multiple options from the same listing. This helps to increase conversion rate, and it also ensures that a single listing gets more listing history, which helps in best match search. Here's an example of a variation listing. As you can see from this listing, multiple options on the same product are available on the same listing.